Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Taylor, and I'd like to welcome you to the Language of Life podcast. The Language of Life podcast is a podcast that focuses on the life stories of people, their successes, their pros, and their cons, and what they've learned from that to be able to share with you to help you in your everyday living and everything that you do. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Angelo. He is an associate at the leasing agency team with Cushman and Wakefield. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Angelo. Angelo, welcome to the Language of Life podcast.
Thank you for having me, Paul. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, Angelo, because you're such a intriguing person, full of energy, focus, and drive. And I always say that you're on the grind. And every time I see you, you've always got a smile on your face. But Angelo, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I was raised in Bethesda, Maryland all my life. I went to college at Prospect State University. I majored in business administration with focus in marketing. I graduated in 2020, right when the pandemic hit, and I wanted to go into commercial real estate. So I joined a investment sales company and was a broker there. I worked there for 2 years and eventually decided to move into leasing with Cushman and Wakefield. That's where I am now, and I've been here for about a year.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Angelo. One of the things that I was so intrigued about is your story. And one of the things that I always bring up to you often when we talk is when you showed me that picture of yourself on a magazine.
Yeah, I remember making that in college. I knew I always wanted to go to commercial real estate, and I thought being on a Forbes magazine was the one of the one of the goals in my life. So I guess for a graphic design class, I had to put myself on the cover of Forbes.
Yeah. And see that in itself let me know that you have a tremendous drive. You have a picture of your future. And it was a snapshot. I always call it a snapshot. Vision is always a snapshot. You get a vision, you get the snapshot of the completion of what you're going to become. And so somehow you figured out in today's time how to cut and paste it and take today and put yourself in the snapshot that you see for your tomorrow. And so it's so intriguing how you do that. I want to ask you some questions, Angelo, in reference to how you got connected and how you got into commercial real estate. Who was it that inspired you, or what was it that inspired you to even come and go into this direction that you're in right now? Who was it that inspired you in the field of commercial real estate that you saw on a media, on a professional level? Who was it?
But well, growing up in Bethesda, I had a lot of friends whose parents were in commercial real estate. And I vividly remember one time being in a car with my friend Charlie, and he pointed out to a commercial property, and he said, his dad owned that building, and I thought that was amazing. Um, Kind of reminded me of like Monopoly, like a real game of Monopoly. It was a pretty uh, a, amazing thing to hear that your friend's dad owns a building. So when I put the when I really analyzed that, I kind of just knew in my heart that that's the route that I want. One day I'd like to own some buildings myself, but in my head, I wanted to work backwards of how can I learn this business, from the ground up, and how can I be successful in the future. So,
It's really amazing, Angelo, because I've seen you work. I've seen you work hard. I've seen you on the grind, as we say, and doing specific things, focus, getting the training, building your network, connecting with people, introducing yourself with people. And for me, I can see that you have a tremendous work ethic. You have a tremendous work ethic. And it's very inspiring to me. Very inspiring to me. You're a very inspiring person. I'd like to ask you, Angelo, who is it, or who was it that, and who is it that inspires you the most? Where do you think you get that work ethic from to just give you that drive to want to be successful? You are successful, and you're becoming even that much more successful. Where does that come from? Who in your life has made that major impression on you?
I don't even have to think about that one. That off the head, it was definitely from my mom. Growing up, she taught me how to work very hard. She came to America when she was in her early 20s by herself. I believe it was like 21, and she didn't know any English. She's been here working as a housekeeper slash babysitter for majority of her life, and all she did was work. And her only goal was, to put her two kids through college and be able to send some money back home. And she worked on weekends, she worked on holidays, and she showed me that with that work ethic, you can really achieve any goal that you dream of. And uh, you know I think just from her story alone, it made me think that and believe that I can really you know do anything as long as I work really hard. And I'll always appreciate that. She raised me to think that way.
Well, I want to tell you, and I know your mom was going to watch this and she's watching this and friends are watching this. And hello, mother of Angelo. I know you're watching with your chest stuck out. I want you to know, Angelo, your mom has done an excellent job with you and being that role model, being that point of reference for you to be able to give you something to look at while you're dealing with your tests and your exams through college and all the various things, and even the challenges that come with commercial real estate, even the challenges that come with the competitiveness of making sure you win the client over, you get them and you do the tour, you do the presentation, you do the cold calling, all those things that are involved in that of what you do. Somehow you remain positive and you have an expectation that this is going to work and I'm going to make it happen. And so contribute that to your mom. Shout goes out to your mom for a great job that she has done. Angelo, you're carrying a great legacy. You're building a legacy for yourself and for your family to come after you. And being that, and when you think about that, and I know that you probably go back and you think about this from time to time, but I always ask this question because I think about college students and I think about, various things. When you were in college, what was the name of the college that you went to, Angelo, again? So we can talk about that real quick.
Frostburg State University.
Frostford State University. That's awesome school too. And in there, when you were in school and you were in that dorm and you were going to classes each day, what was that like in a life in your life as you begin to work through? Did you know then when you were in college that real estate is what you really wanted to get into? And did you ever do any internships, or did you figure it out later on in your college career?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think sophomore year of high school, I knew I wanted to go to commercial real estate. I when like I mentioned, when I was in that car with my friend Charlie, I was just like, okay, that's something clicked in my head that like that's the route to go to. When I was in school at Frostburg, they didn't really have a real estate program, but I knew if I did business, I think I'd be uh, on the right track. But I did get an internship from with the help of my mom's employer at a corporate law firm where they do mergers and acquisitions. And I think that alone, with them being such a big name and such a you know well-known company, that it helped me get into better positions into my career later on once I graduated.
Wow. And I know that you've had an opportunity too, Angelo, to work for other companies too, to even prepare you for this one. And working for other companies, preparing you, what was that like? Where you were working for a company, you finally got your foot in the door. You're like,
Yeah,
man, I'm moving into it now. What was that like? What was that like?
it was a little intimidating at first, but I think you just get the hang of it. Before I did the intern at a law firm, I think the summer before it was my sophomore year of college, I was actually doing door to door selling like windows and siding. Um, I know that sounds, not the best job in the world, but I knew if I wanted to be a broker in commercial real estate, I would need to understand sales as well as, you know, getting rid of that being scared to talk to people, talk to strangers about anything. So I thought to myself, what's the best way to do that? I think would be going door to door, because especially nowadays, I think it's very intimidating considering that no one goes door to door anymore. If someone, knocked on your door, you'd be a little concerned because you just expect a friend to text you that they're coming over or anything like that. So uh, once I had that down, and I also had being able to work in a corporate office, I felt like I had the two uh, platforms to allow me to really succeed in commercial real estate, where you need to be able to talk and network with people, as well as being able to do those uh, corporate tasks on a day-to-day basis with like Excel and everything like that.
Wow, that's awesome. You just answered my next question because I was going to ask you about that, about the internships, and you talked about it. And so I can ask you this, ladies and gentlemen, I can ask them this because the internships, would you say that doing the internships and then working those jobs, you talked about something, how it prepared you for talking with people, interacting with people? Was it anything else in internships? Is it anything else that internships can show you to help prepare you for real life experiences in the workplace or in the field that they're pursuing to pursue, and the area of professionalism, dealing with commercial real estate or whatever profession it is they want to go with there? Would you say the internships help you and prepare you for that?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you're in college, especially your second or third year, uh, you understand how it works. You're doing your studies, you're having fun, you're going to sports games, but you get a taste of the real world when you do a nice internship somewhere. It's I realized that a lot of the stuff that I thought mattered wasn't going to matter from a year from now. I saw deals, you know, like corporate deals being made, with like the mergers and acquisitions. Not too in depth because I was just an intern, but like just hearing these big corporate names that I see in the news all the time. And I realized to myself, I could be a part of something really big one day. And that's really what I need to focus on. And I think that was a benefit of being able to intern, is really seeing how the real world works and like what I want to do after college.
Wow, that's awesome. Because you said you learned the terms and the names and the company names and understanding what the corporate setting was like. That's awesome. Now, in our closing, we're drawing to a close. I hate to cut this out, but I want to ask you one question. Would you be willing to come back again for
Oh,
another session?
oh yeah, definitely.
Well, you're going to be like one of my regulars. So I'm excited about that. We play. I want to close with something that we usually do, and it's the word good. The word good, which is an acronym. And so, with closing out, with each letter in that word, GOOD, good, the letter G, when you think about the letter G, what word pops in your mind when you think about the letter G, Angelo?
Uh, I'd probably say goals.
Goals. Wow, got to have goals. And that's definitely what you have of goals. And when you think about having goals, and then there's another letter that says O. What do you think when O, the letter O pops in your mind? What do you think?
Opportunity.
Opportunity. I'm writing these down as you
Okay.
talk about them. And then there's another letter O. What does that pop in your mind? What does that mean?
Optimistic.
Optimistic. Wow. I'm very optimistic. Okay. And then when you think about the next letter, which is D, what pops in your mind?
Detailed.
Detailed. Wow. Detailed. So you have goals. You embrace the opportunities. You're optimistic. Wow, I love that. And you're detail oriented. With those, but thinking about these goals and these opportunities and these being optimistic and being detail oriented, college student is at the stage where they're graduating. They've graduated. They're the last day of their dorm. They're going out into the real working world. For college students that are watching this, that are listening to this, or parents that are kind of a little concerned about their students or their children that are students in college, what would you tell a parent? What would you tell a college student to encourage them as they graduate and walk across that stage and get ready to go out into the working world? What would you tell them with thinking about the word goal and opportunity and being optimistic and being detail oriented? How would you encourage a college student right now?
I would tell them to really think about what they want to do.
Mhm.
And if they don't know what they want to do, just, I would recommend them to just try whatever opportunity comes their way. But if they do know what they want to do and it might be a riskier route compared to something a little bit safer, I'd say take the risk. Go that route. You're still young, you'll figure it out. I feel like everything will fall into place eventually. It might not go the way you expect, but at the end of the day, you'll be able to reach that goal if you take
Wow,
that route.
that is awesome. And that's what the, being optimistic is. Take a risk. Take a risk. You have an opportunity to take a risk. Angelo, thank you so much for being a part of this. And you will be back, ladies and gentlemen. You heard him say that he would come back. He will be back because there's so much more information that he has to share. And then I believe that he can share with a lot of college students, a lot of people that are just breaking into this field of work. I want those of you that are watching today, I want you to know this because Angelo said something that really sparked out to me. He said, being optimistic. And there's a word that I always say is that confidence propels competence. Confidence propels competence. And so you've got to be confident and assured in yourself, embracing the opportunities, focusing on goals, and being optimistic and being detail oriented. And so now, for those of you that have heard this, I want you to share this page, the Language of Life podcast, share with a friend, share it on different platforms. I want you to begin to let other people know what's taking place here because this is the information station. This is where we bring about inspiration and transformation. And for some of you, it'll be confirmation. So then you've heard it from me and you've heard it from Angela. We'll see you next time on the Language of Life podcast. Thank you and see you next time. Thank you, Angelo.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome, buddy.